and welcome to the Star Wars EU, now dubbed Legends. So, I just got done reading the second book in the AC Crispin trilogy of the Han Solo Trilogy, which is The Hutt's Gambit. This was a fun read. So, first off, it's been quite a bit since the last book. Han was in the Imperial Navy, but the book starts, I think, like 6 months after that, or I'm not exactly sure, but it's been a while, and it starts with it being like a couple weeks after him being kicked out of the military, because what happened was it was not off screen, it's a book, but off book. We didn't get to read about it. Chewie was getting abused as a slave, and Han saw this, and he saved him. And so now Chewie has a custom. The Wookiees have a custom to where if someone saves them, they owe them a life debt. So now Chewie's just stuck with him. And I love that because in the last book, if you've read it, there's a part in the beginning after Delana, by the way, spoilers for Paradise Snare. Don't know why you're watching The Hutt's Gambit. If you haven't read Paradise Snare, it's a trilogy. Go read it. It's a good book, and you won't enjoy this book if you haven't read the last one. You'll be confused. Anyway, when Delana dies, he mentions that if there's ever another one of her kind in help, that he will not hesitate to help her or help them. And so he did. And as we all know, that Chewie is going to be Han's best friend in the world. So I just thought that was really cool. We also get to see Boba Fett in this book. Oh my gosh. It's a very small part of the book. It's only like a chapter or two, maybe 3. I'm not exactly sure. I don't remember. But we get Boba Fett. And as we all know, we don't get enough of him in the movies. So we get more of him now. And so it was really cool. It was the first meeting of Boba Fett for Han Solo. And of course, it ties into the last book with why he had to meet him, because of Terenza from the Elysian slave spice making colony or whatever. So, and the way he gets out of it is really funny. And it worked, because usually I don't want anybody to, I imagine Boba Fett's like a super tough, super awesome bounty hunter, which he is. But the way they were able to get out of it, the situation was really cool. Speaking of which, how we got out of the situation, we get to meet Lando Calrissian for the first time. Or Han gets to meet him for the first time. I don't know if there's any other books prior to this where we meet Lando, though I don't think there is. I might be wrong about that. But so we get Lando for the first time, which is really cool, because Lando's a really cool character, and we got more of him in this. And we get to see more of the girl from the last book, because I thought she was gone. She doesn't have a huge role in this book. She has a very, very minor role in this book. I'm suspecting she's going to have a bigger role in the next book, because in the first book I had no idea what they're going to do with her, and then they brought her back in this book, and she is part of the rebels. Now, I'm not exactly sure in this time frame if the Rebel Alliance even exists. They're probably growing members, and there's probably no name for it yet, but I'm pretty sure that's what she works for. And the only real thing I know about the last book in this trilogy is that the end of the book will end right where episode 4 is, when Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke are going into the cantina and they meet Han and Chewie for the first time. That's where the third book will end. But I'm suspecting, if Bree is a character and she's part of that alliance, and that last book takes place basically right before episode 4, then I'm imagining that that's going to be a big part of it. So, but we'll see if my prediction comes true. There was an amazing final fight in this book. It was really cool. Han just getting all the ladies left and right. He gets 2 girls in this. He gets 2 girls in this very book. 2 girls. Bria in the first book. Now we got 2 more. Though we know that he already had other ladies that he had dated and or just had fun with. Because Paradise Snare mentions that Bria was the first one he took like really seriously. But then you get 2 more girls, so it's just crazy. All these women that Han does, but he will stick with Leia, and that's really cool. So, which we'll get to more stuff about that in the future. But overall, Hutt's Gambit was... Oh, and we get to see Jabba, which is really cool because Jabba wasn't in the first one. It was there were Hutts in it, but Jabba wasn't. And we got to have Han meet Jabba for the first time, which is really cool because it's a big, huge sort of plot point with Jabba being upset because he owes money and whatever in the movies. So it's really cool to see him here. And it's just overall a really good read. I really love A.C. Crispin's writing. I like that Han is still Han. And I like that it just builds upon a character that we all already know and love. However, as for book reviews, it's going to be a while before we finish this trilogy because there is 2 trilogies that take place or were written in like the 70s or 80s or whatever that are taking precedence because timeline-wise they happened before the final book in this trilogy. So we have a Lando Calrissian trilogy, which I will be reading through and telling you about. And then we have another Han Solo trilogy written by another person, which all take place before that final book in the trilogy. So it's going to be a while before we come back to A.C. Crispin's writing. However, we have more stories of smugglers and fun to be had before we finally get to the events of episode 4, which I'm not doing a movie review or anything, but I'm saying we have a couple stories before we get past that initial point. So I hope you guys are enjoying this. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. The EU is just filled with so many stories. I haven't even scratched the surface of the amount of stuff that there is to enjoy, but this truly has already been such a much better experience because I watched Solo and it was fine. It was okay. But these books have been so much better. It's just been wonderful. And we haven't even gotten to the stuff post Return of the Jedi, which I'm really excited about because I was really disappointed with the new Disney trilogy. And so I'm really excited to read the Thrawn trilogy for the first time, to read the new Jedi Order, to read Legacy of the Force and Fate of the Jedi and Crucible. Of course, it ends there and you're like, oh frick, but I'll probably find some fan fiction, which I usually don't read fan fiction, but we're never going to get a continuation of these stories. So if I can find a really good fan fiction of the books that were supposed to come out after Crucible, then I'm probably going to review that fan fiction and put a link to it so people can read it. Because I'm loving it. And I'm just so excited to be doing this. And see, like, I don't have every single spoiler, but I do know that, you know, instead of going back to smuggling like he does in episode 7 or whatever, Han becomes a general for the New Republic, and he's going to have kids and stuff. And that's one thing that made me cry. Just all of a sudden, just knowing that fact made me tear up in Paradise Snare in the last book. Because Han talks about, like, you know, how he wants to be in the Imperial Navy because he wants to, you know, like, live like a normal life, and he wants to be straight. And he thinks he'd be a good dad and a good husband. And I'm like, you will be. You're going to be with Leia, and you're going to have kids, Jason and Jaina, and Anakin Solo. And you're going to be a general for the New Republic. So everything that he wants will happen. So this made me kind of happy. But anyway, thank you all for watching. the EU Legends deserves to be talked about. It is superior to Disney canon, and I can't wait to see what else I have in store. Thank you, Disney Trilogy, for making me find this amazing alternate timeline that is significantly better and is the true canon, in my opinion. But yeah, I'm loving it so far. I'm excited to continue going. Though next up, I gotta watch The Force Unleashed on YouTube because that's next chronologically. So I'll see you when I see you. Thanks for watching. Bye.